I'm handing $5,000 to artificial intelligence and letting it invest to maximize my returns. No safety net, no takebacks, and no guidance. Now, if you've ever wondered whether a machine can actually outsmart the market or your own investment strategy, this is where we find out. I'll show you exactly what AI buys, how it performs, and whether this is the future of investing or a really good way for me to lose $5,000. Once this video goes live, each month I'll also break down exactly how the AI's picks are playing out. There's no fluff, just real results there. So if you're curious where this goes, make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss out. All right, let's go ahead and dive on in here. So first off, why am I doing this? Well, here's the honest truth. I firmly believe that AI is just plain smarter than us when it comes to investing. It's not about gut feelings or, second guessing every move. AI doesn't get emotional. It doesn't overthink, and it doesn't freeze up when the market gets weird. It's all brain all the time. And that gives it a real edge over even the most seasoned human investors. Recent studies back this up in a big way as well. So for example, research from the University of Chicago found that AI outperformed human financial analysts at predicting company earnings. The AI hit a 60% accuracy rate, while humans were stuck at about 53 to 57% range. That's not a small difference. In fact, another long-term study found that AI beat human analysts in stock return predictions over half the time, thanks to its ability to process way more information way faster than any person ever could. And it's not just about crunching numbers either. AI can scan thousands of financial statements, news articles, and even social media posts in literally seconds. That's why I'm doing this experiment. I want to see if AI's recommendations can actually beat what I or even the broader market can do. I'm convinced that letting AI handle the decisions will lead to smarter, more consistent returns, and I want to prove it with real money on the line. So next up, I'll break down exactly how this experiment is set up and what rules I'm following as well.
You got some balls.
So first up, the basics. I'm starting with a $5,000 investment, and you might wonder, well, why $5,000? Well, it's enough to build a legit portfolio with real stakes, but not so much that I'll be losing sleep if things go awful. The whole idea is to see if AI can make smart decisions with an amount that's realistic for most people out there. Now let's talk about strategy. I'm giving the AI full control, but within a framework that makes sense for everyday investors. That means the AI will be building a diversified portfolio of stocks, ETFs, and maybe even a few wild cards if the algorithm thinks there's an edge. I want to stay away from mutual funds simply because it's slower to move money around if needed. I'm going to also direct AI to give me a semi-aggressive strategy that is likely to yield the highest return within the next 12 months. I'll also be dumping $5,000 in at one time instead of doing dollar cost averaging, which is usually what I prefer to do anyway. The goal here is to balance risk and reward, just like any smart investor would. I'm not letting the AI go all in on a single, meme stock or chasing the latest hype train at all. Instead, it has to follow some basic investing principles. Spread out the risk, keep an eye on long-term growth, and avoid getting too greedy, which every investor needs to do all that. So what tools am I using to make this happen? So ChatGPT will be my go-to for research and analysis, and Perplexity.ai to help with real-time data. Now, to be clear, I'm letting the AI make all the calls. There's no human overrides, no last-minute, gut feeling trades. If the AI says buy, we buy. If it says to sell, we sell. It's a true test of whether AI can outperform a human investor when it's given full control and a clear set of rules. As for how often the AI will be making moves, so I'm setting it up to review and rebalance the portfolio once per month. That way, it's not just reacting to every blip in the market, but it's also not stuck holding the same positions the entire 12 months that I'm doing this. This gives the AI a chance to adapt, spot new opportunities, and hopefully avoid any major disasters along the way. That all said, let's break down where the money is going and why. And you might be surprised by some of the choices, I definitely was, and the logic that AI gave behind them as well. All right, so this is really what you came here to see. Exactly what did AI recommend for me to buy? The answer? Well, you can see it in the screenshot right here. But yeah, it's kind of hard to read it all. So let me break down the positions it had me invest in and the reasoning for doing so as well. So the first one was $1,500 in NVIDIA. So NVIDIA remains the undisputed leader in AI infrastructure, with Q1 2025 revenue soaring to $26.04 billion, which was plus 262% year over year. And its next-gen Blackwell AI platform is set to drive $28 billion in Q2 sales. Now, the company's CUDA ecosystem and dominance in training large language models make it indispensable for enterprise and governments. Recent partnerships with Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon solidify its moat as well. Next, AI had me invest $1,250 into Google or Alphabet. The Q1 2025 revenue grew 12% year over year to $90.2 billion, driven by Google Cloud and AI integrated search. Its Gemini AI model and DeepMind research underpin long-term innovation, while YouTube's ad rebound, which was plus 14% year over year, and it had a 21-cent share dividend to enhance shareholder appeal. Next is iShares US Aerospace and Defense ETF, which was $1,000. So defense stocks remain a good hedge against escalating US, China, India trade tensions. ITA's top holdings are Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman, which benefit from bipartisan support for a record $886 billion defense budget. The ETF has outperformed the S&P 500 year-to-date by 18% due to resilient government contracts. Next is Nucor Corporation for $750. So Nucor's Q1 2025 shipments, they rose by 10% year over year, despite earnings headwinds, reflecting a demand for US-sourced steel amid all the reshoring that's going on. The company's electric arc furnace technology also aligns with decarbonization trends and kind of the green movement. And its $1.2 billion investment in new mills positions it to capitalize on infrastructure bills. And we also had Robinhood for $500. So Robinhood's Q4 2024 revenue surged 115% year over year, fueled mostly by crypto trading and international expansion. Retail investors accounted for 23% of US equity volumes in April, supporting its zero commission model. The platform's AI-driven personalized portfolios attract younger demographics, which is a huge bonus as well. Now, I do want to point out that I do have a cash balance of $148 that I'm holding, but the only reason for that is because the stock and the ETF prices are different from the actual recommendations that AI gave, but I did get as close as I could with my purchases. Now, in the update next month, I'll be sure that we get this invested. So again, subscribe to keep up with this experiment. Now, my thoughts on the strategy, well, I kind of hate some of these recommendations. I got to be honest. So NVIDIA is a little crazy as of late. And I feel like, so much of that stock's performance really hinges on tariffs that it's not really worth going into it so heavily right now. Now, don't get me wrong. I still hold a position, but I am a little shocked AI wanted me to put that much into it. Now, next, Google Alphabet. I hate it. Roughly 78% of the revenue of that business, it comes from ads. And with AI overviews being so prominent now in the search engine, I just don't see it doing well in the short or even medium term. And Robinhood, I lost like $800 in Robinhood 3 or 4 years ago, and it kind of pissed me off, and I haven't looked back. But AI brings up good points, and I do think it's smarter than me. So let's see where all this goes. Speaking of seeing where it goes, what could go wrong? So you ever get that feeling right before you hit buy on a stock, like, maybe you're missing something? Well, even with AI running the show, that feeling just never totally goes away. Just because a machine can, process more data than you or I really ever could, doesn't mean that it's immune to making mistakes. In fact, there are a few ways that this experiment could totally blow up in my face. So first off, AI is only as good as the data that it's fed. If there's a glitch or a bad data feed, or even just a weird market event that's never happened before, the AI might make a call that looks smart on paper, but just tanks in the real world. And then there's the whole black box problem, right? So some of these AI models that I'm using, they are so complex that even the people who built them can't always explain exactly why they make the choices that they do. That means if the AI suddenly dumps a stock I love or loads up on something that seems risky, we might not get a clear answer why. It's kind of like having like a genius friend who's, terrible at explaining themselves. And that's not always comforting when your money's on the line. And also, let's not forget about the semi-aggressive investment strategy that I said to do. Now, do you know how AI defines semi-aggressive? Yeah, me neither. So let's just hope that doesn't mean a ton of like meme stocks over time. And finally, there's the very real risk of missing out on those gut feeling moments, right? Sometimes the best investment decisions, they come from knowing when to break the rules, like, holding on to a stock through a rough patch because you believe in the company, or selling early because something just feels off. AI doesn't have instincts, it just has algorithms. That's both its superpower and its biggest weakness. So yeah, AI investing is powerful, but it's not magic. The market is unpredictable, and no system, human or machine, can really guarantee a win every time. That's why I'm keeping this experiment transparent and showing you every move, win or lose. Now, if you're thinking about trying AI investing yourself, knowing the risks is just as important as chasing the rewards. So where do we go from here? So I'm going to be tracking every move that the AI makes, posting regular updates, and breaking down what's working, what's flopping, and what I'm learning along the way. You'll get to see the wins, the losses, and the, wait, why did AI do that? Those types of moments. Nothing hidden, nothing sugar-coated. Every update, I'll show you exactly how the portfolio is performing. We'll look at what the AI is buying, what it's dumping, and whether it's sticking to the plan or, just making some wild, crazy, stupid pivots. If the AI starts crushing it, you'll see it in real time. And if it tanks, well, you'll see that too, because let's be honest, sometimes the best lessons, they come from what doesn't work. Speaking of not working, so if you're sitting there thinking, all right, this investing stuff is cool and all, but where do I even start? I'm not gonna do the AI thing, I'm still kind of a beginner. Well, I'd say to go to my Future Millionaires binge list right here as your next stop. It's kind of like a highlight reel for everything you need to know about investing if you're still intimidated by it.